Monday, the 15th of July. This is how we get to the middle of the month. And of course, we're now counting down the final 2 weeks of the first month in the third quarter. Welcome everyone to the show. It's going to be a very busy week with the political issues overnight from the United States, the global oil market getting a little bit teetering, as it were. Dollar is rallying, US Treasury slump. It's the morning after how the markets are reacting to the assassination attempt over the weekend in Pennsylvania on the Republican presidential hopeful former President Donald Trump. But let's first walk you through the Pan-African headlines, as it were, where the markets finished on Friday. The Nigerian bourse about 0.25% in the green territory, just a bit of a rebound on Friday. The BRVM fell by 0.4%. The Egyptian market remained closed as at Friday, while the NSE in Nairobi was 110, up by 0.32%. That's a green shoot. The GSE went up about 0.75%. It's 1,686. But there's some not so positive soundbite about whether the world still consider South Africa as an investment destination. That's coming from Signia CEO. We'll get to that in just a second. But let me walk you through the East African headlines. From the global footprints, where are we this Monday, the 15th of July, was the US dollar climbing, or dollar index rising over the weekend, with oil prices also moving in tandem, while U.S. Treasuries waver because of the assassination attempt at a political rally of former President Donald Trump over the weekend. It's been condemned widely around the world by world leaders, including the Nigerian president and others as well. But that's the big story. The markets will be looking into that very deep dive today, and let's see what the rest of the week will look like. This in the short term. Kenya, however, is planning to float a new Eurobond by next year. That's according to market sources, Mwango Capital, and it's looking to cover the 2027 maturity. So do a Eurobond in 2025, pull the fund forward and cover your way forward. Just borrow on top of another borrowing, and that's what Kenyan administration or President Ruto is doing right now. Coffee prices will climb into 2025 according to the roaster Lavazza, one of the biggest coffee exporter in Africa. Ethiopia reporting $1.24 billion or $1.28 billion last year in terms of coffee exports, from a record posted by the Horn of Africa's big economy. Sticking with the East African market, the bonuses by CEOs of companies listed on the Nairobi Securities Exchange slumped to about 735 million shillings. You got a news recently that Dr. Mwangi, who is the group CEO of Equity Group, rejecting or decided not to take his bonus for 2023 from the board of directors. And finally, Kenya Revenue Agency, that's the KRA, says about 44 billion shillings was what was made through the tax amnesty program that was floated in the country. Nigeria did a similar program under the President Buhari's administration a few years ago. Let me walk you through the West African headlines. NNPC, Nigeria's National Petroleum Corporation equity, is now down to 7.2%, according to Aliko Dangote, no longer 20%. And the news came out yesterday where we had what you call a media briefing and a tour of the petrochemical facility, the multi-billion-dollar empire that is built on the backwaters of Lagos. That's where Aliko mentioned yesterday that the initial 20% of the NNPC equity in the refinery is now scaled down to 7.2 because the State Oil Corporation failed to meet the equity cover or the cash cover for that equity size of 20% at the end of June, which was last month. So the size of what's been paid for is now down to just around 7% in the refinery. In the meantime, total investments in the refinery and the fertilizer behemoth of facilities is now around $25 billion since it started. So the first capital raising for these two facilities started in September of 2013. Investment from local banks, international banks, and out of pocket for Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest businessman himself. In the meantime, the refinery is expected to be listed in early part of 2025. That's according to Aliko Dangote speaking to us media journalists yesterday over the weekend. Naira down roughly 5% over the last 2 weeks, fell 1.98% last week. The previous week was down 2.1%. On the dollar, trading strongly above 1,500 in the FX window. Ghana labor agencies looking to set up more banks to boost economic development within the West African economy, while the IMF says Ghana's economic reforms is beginning to show some progress. Congratulations to the folks in Accra. We say thank you for all the hard work being done on the ground. Let's cross to Southern Africa. And this is coming through from Signia CEO. And that's the head of Signia says South Africa is no longer Maria says it's no longer, South Africa is no longer in the discourse when it comes to global investment destination. That's Magda, by the way, beg your pardon. Magda says that over the weekend, and you can read up more on that. South Africa has gone through a very tough time recently as we saw investment outflows out of South Africa in the run-up to the elections at the end of May 29, when you had a very nail-biting election. You have a new unity government, President Cyril Ramaphosa continuing in office. But those outflows, both in stocks and bonds, are yet to fully return to South Africa, the continent's most advanced economy. Now, Signia CEO says South Africa is now irrelevant. The Angola is looking to sell the government's equity stake in the Standard Bank unit, which is in Angola, because it has some link to the jailed insurance tycoon or businessman. And P Campaign South Africa says it's getting 4 billion rand offer terms in order to revitalize the retailer. And Islamic Bank has scooped up a top-notch official for supporting SMEs in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, beg your pardon. And Mozambique, Zimbabwe, and Botswana teamed up for a regional rail project. That's the way we want to do it. Just do it alone. Work with others. Go with others. So you can go very far and very fast. And that's what these three regional economies are looking at. Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique for a regional rail project. And FNB of Zambia, a commercial bank, says it's opened its first solar-powered branch in the country. And finally, Zimbabwe must end its dollar grip in order to regain the stature of the economy. And that's according to Paul Mangwana, who's a politician in Zimbabwe. Those are the headlines in the South. Let's finish off in North Africa. And that's a couple of headlines coming through this Monday morning, July the 15th. Egypt's green hydrogen project has won the H2 global tender to supply renewable ammonia to European Union. And the Tangier is investing $13.8 million in video surveillance and traffic management around the airports and the city. And that's in Morocco, by the way. And of course, the Moroccan government has approved 1,000 dinars as an increase in minimum wage for healthcare workers in the country. And finally, the IMF has concluded its Article 4 consultation with Libya. The IMF says the country remains very fragile, but that its GDP growth is still on track. And that's latest from Washington, having finished with the government officials in Libya, by the way. And those are your headlines. Let's get back to the business of the day and of the week. Hope you had a very great week. We've got some big news coming through tomorrow from Nigeria, joining the EFCFTA with the first shipment that is being celebrated tomorrow. We're going to cover that for you on Frontier Africa Reports. Keep that in mind in support of the new AFCFTA Nigeria putting its footprint on the map. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.